Greetings and welcome to another Tomorrow's World webcast. My name is Wallace Smith. It's good to have you here. The topic I'm going to talk about today is still hot in the news, and we actually talked about it some time ago. I encourage you to find our webcast on that topic, but it concerns this press, it seems this growing press, to add women to the draft of the United States to put them in the military should such a need arise, quote unquote need, and force them into combat. Notice we're not talking about women volunteering for the military. We're talking about drafting them. We're talking about a government forcibly telling women you have to go into the military and serve in a combat role. There was a fantastic opinion piece written by National Review from the editorial board there on February 9th, 2016. It's hard to say it more plainly than this title. Only a barbaric nation drafts its mothers and daughters into combat. There are parts of this essay I actually cannot read because they're too graphic. Let me just grab a couple of, I think, well summarized statements. They talk about this policy of forcing women, young and older, to go into war and actually to serve in combat. It says such a policy inverts natural law and the rules that have grounded our civilization for thousands of years. Here's how they state it. Men should protect women. They should not shelter behind mothers and daughters. Indeed, we see this reality every time there is a mass shooting. Boyfriends throw themselves over girlfriends, and even strangers and acquaintances often give themselves up to save the woman closest to them. Who can forget the story of 45-year-old Shannon Johnson wrapping his arms around 27-year-old Denise Peraza and declaring, "I got you," before falling to the San Bernardino shooter's bullets? I can't read that example without getting goosebumps over myself. The idea that that's what men do. A man grabs a woman, shields her with his body in a case like that and says, "I've got you." That's the way there's supposed to be a difference between how men behave and how women behave. Why are we ignoring what is even most natural to us as a civilization, even as organisms, if we want to go in that direction, for such ideas as this? They describe, which I cannot read to you in detail, this comment from Dakota Meyer. He was actually a Medal of Honor recipient. I won't go into it, but he describes hand-to-hand combat in fighting against the Taliban. And it is brutal, and it's one-on-one, and it's personal. And then getting back to the article, he says, that is war. It's not a video game. It is not a movie where young Hollywood starlets karate kick their way through masses of inept thugs and goons. When we order women into ground combat, they continue, we are ordering them into situations where men larger and stronger than they will show no mercy, crushing the life out of them like Meyer crushed that Taliban. Talking about the particular case in his book that they were quoting. Again, I can't read it for you. It is too graphic, but I do have to ask myself, do any of us want our mothers, wives, or daughters in such a circumstance? Let me be really blunt here as we wrap up this, as I keep you in tune with the news. Let me say straightforwardly, any individual or any culture or nation that believes it is okay to force women, mothers, wives, daughters into primal combat against an enemy has some kind of moral or ethical deficiency. I don't want to say it any other, I don't want to water it down, I don't want to say it differently. Recently in the United States, we've had U.S. presidential candidates say they're all for this. You know, we don't get into politics. I don't care what party you're from. That is not God's design. That is not God's way, and it truly is fundamentally unethical. It's not the role of mothers or wives to protect in that way. We all have our roles, but we've lost something fundamental. You know, the Bible paints God's picture and design for motherhood. It's actually a really beautiful statement in Isaiah chapter 66. I think it's beautiful, where God is talking about how He longs to comfort Israel, and He looks forward to it. And he says in Isaiah 66 and verse 13, "As one whom his mother comforts, so will I comfort you." He was counting on our understanding of that natural sense a mother has to provide comfort and care. What have we lost sight of that we're trading one for the other? Let me ask all the men watching here. Do we really want to live in the kind of civilization where we would force our mothers, wives, and daughters into roles of brutal and vicious combat with some other power? Do we really want to live in that kind of world? In this society, how far are we plunging? We're plunging this far, where even the law of nature is no longer something to be considered any kind of guide to whatever we call a morality these days. Thanks for watching. I hope you'll check out all of our other resources at tomorrowsworld.org.